Comedians are finally getting the therapy they need. The cult classic series Dr. Katz is back with all new episodes exclusively on Audible. 15 of comedy's biggest stars are on the couch with Jonathan Katz for 15-minute therapy sessions, baring their souls. We know you'll love it, and at the end, we'll let you know how to listen to the whole series for free.
Dr. Katz, Weird Al Yankovic is here.
Why are you calling him weird? But I've been expecting him, so that's great. He can come in if he likes.
Okay. Weird. You can go in.
Something that we're not really talking about, and we've never really talked about, which, frankly, I'd like to bring up and just kind of get your take on it, is I've always wondered, why does everybody call me weird? It's kind of made my life a living hell, and I'm sorry to use such a harsh profanity, but, this is really disturbing to me. I mean, why are people that cruel and hurtful, or is it more because I put the name Weird Al on all my record albums? That could be it as well, and I'm talking it out, and I'm kind of seeing now why people might have been calling me that, so I'm thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk it through and figure it out. So thank you.
No, sometimes that's all it takes. Is you answered your own question.
Sometimes I do Google searches for my name. I assume you do that too, right? I mean, you do searches for Weird Al.
Yeah.
But in the last year, whenever I did a search for Weird Al Franken would pop up because, a lot of right-wing blogs and websites have taken to calling him Weird Al Franken, which, I don't get that because, it seems like, the right-wingers and Al Franken would be from diametrically opposed ends of the political spectrum. So, they should be trying to insult him, instead of comparing him to a popular, incredibly talented sex symbol. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I really like Al Franken. He's one of my favorite Saturday Night Live cast members ever to get elected to the U.S. Senate.
Those are things, especially politics, Al, is something I generally do not talk about in therapy. But it seems like this is such an unusual climate that we're living in America politically.
Yeah.
That it's hard not to talk about it. I think it has had such an impact on most Americans.
Well, okay, I learned on social media, if I tweet something like, hey, it's a beautiful day, let's all be nice to each other, I'll get 100 responses that say, that's the kind of socialist garbage I've come to expect from a snowflake libtard cuck like you. Stay out of politics and just do your dumb parodies, monkey boy.
Who is it?
Oh, hi. I was just sort of in the neighborhood. Is it a bad time?
Oh, no. Come on in, Erica. Your sister won't be here for a while.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping to talk to you, actually.
Sure. Oh, why don't you sit down and tell me what's going on?
Well, okay, let's pretend I knew someone whose older sister is treating them badly.
Is this about you and Laura?
Wow, you're good.
Well, I've been doing this for a while, but thank you.
Wow.
I mean, do know.
She's mean, but she's my sister, and I have to love her no matter what, blah, blah, blah. But to what point,
Well, look, Erica, you're putting me in an awkward position, and I love it. I mean, your sister's a complicated, hard to read.
That's really interesting, but can we sort of get it back to me?
Have you considered going into therapy with your sister?
I think that would just make it worse. Yeah, so Dr. Katz, I'm not sure you can really help me.
Well, Erica, it is what it is.
I hate when people say it is what it is. It isn't what it is. It just is, You shouldn't have to repeat all the time. It is what it is. You should just be able to say it is.
Okay, it is.
Okay.
Well, just have fun and be yourself.
I can do one or the other. I can't do both of those things. I can't have fun if I'm being myself. You know what I mean?
I know how music came into your life. It was through the accordion. Am I right about that?
You are correct, yeah. My parents made the life-altering decision that I should take accordion lessons when I was 7 years old because they wanted me to grow up to take over Western civilization with my accordion polka rock fusion.
Was it about meeting chicks?
Yeah, I mean, because, when you play the accordion, women are naturally attracted to you. I mean, when you're at the party with your accordion, you're a one-man band. You're always the most popular kid in the room with an accordion. So, I mean, they were looking out for me. They wanted to make sure that I had my pick of any woman that I desired.
It also can demonstrate your ability to hold something close to you. I never really thought of it. It's kind of like what's it called, the thing that used to hold a baby, a snuggly?
A baby Bjorn.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I think that's one of the members of ABBA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, also a great Swedish tennis player.
Oh, yes, true.
Baby Bjorn. I'd like to hear about your earliest childhood memory.
Oh, gosh. Okay, let me think. Zygote, nothing. Embryo, nothing. The real early stuff I'm kind of fuzzy on. Okay, hold on.
Do you have friends that you made as a child that are still part of your life?
Imaginary friends. Most of the other kids that I played with in elementary school, I call them up, and they don't want to play Foursquare with me anymore. Nobody wants to play tetherball with me anymore. What's the point? So, but I still got Bingo, my imaginary friend. So that's all good.
Oh, that's the name of your imaginary friend, Bingo?
That's not his real name.
Oh.
He goes by an alias.
Oh.
He's got to protect himself too.
Okay, this is kind of a broad question, but would you describe yourself as happy?
No. I wouldn't describe myself. I'll leave that to my biographer. That's why they make the big bucks. I don't. I just live my life. I do what I do, and I let other people describe my personality. So that's not something that I would take upon myself.
I'm going to ask you if you have any regrets.
Well, you know what they say: regret ain't just a river in Egypt. I'm slightly dyslexic, so when you say regrets, I think of egrets, which is one of my least favorite birds.
Oh.
And what I always tell people is I try to live my life without egrets because they're awful birds. They're just noisy.
Aren't they parasites?
They
that sit on the back of some
They're
animal?
totally parasites. They're like the rat flea of birds.
Yeah, not only are they bumming a ride from some animal, they're also eating something off of its body to stay alive.
And I used to do that. But, I realized that was a little parasitic, not to put too fine a point on it.
Did you hitchhike as a young man?
Well, it depends what you mean by hitchhike. If you mean driving my car wherever I want to from point A to point B and not relying on the kindness of strangers, yeah, I hitchhiked all the time.
So, are you still seeing Adam?
No, I mean, we broke up. But that's good, because it means it was a real relationship, Like, usually I'm like, it's over, and he's like, who's this?
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's, positive.
You're able to make better decisions for yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely waiting, to, sleep with anybody, if that's what you mean.
Right.
I mean, I just feel like sex has gotten too casual because it's like, as a woman, you're literally letting somebody inside of your body and they could give you something horrible that could last your entire life, like low self-esteem or something. Or a human, they could give you a human and then you're like, I got this human, or a human with low self-esteem. Even worse, right?
Right.
But breakups, I mean, it's hard because I feel like they used to be easier before the internet came around. It used to just be simple. It used to be like, sorry, it didn't work out. Have a nice life. Now it's like, sorry, it didn't work out. I'll see you online forever, depending on how much you stalk them. And for me, it's always forever because they just constantly check in. I just realized that women and men stalk differently online because men stalk women online, but women stalk the women that men are stalking online.
And why do you think that is?
I don't know. We're just more thorough with our investigation. We're more complicated. We want to get to the bottom of the story. They just want to get to some hot selfie. That's all.
Right.
After the breakup, I was kind of lonely. So I got a vibrator, and I was like,
right.
At first I was like, oh, this is going to be great. But then it kind of freaks me out because I'm just not used to getting so much attention, I'm like, okay, calm down, give me some breathing room, pal. But, one time I actually caught myself faking an orgasm and I was like, who am I trying to impress here? It's just the two of us. We're not making a movie. It's just us, so Also, I'm really bad at faking orgasms because I can't cry on cue.
Last week we were talking about what you described as your unhealthy need for attention.
Frankly, I don't know how unhealthy it is. I mean, there are times when I guess I feel the need to have thousands of people looking at me because I'm on stage. I'm a performer. That's what I do. If people start looking down at the floor or checking out the fire exits, that's rude. I notice that. So, I want them looking at me. I mean, is that unhealthy?
Well, I just would raise the question about how can life's more simple pleasures compete with that?
Well, they can't. That's why I don't go with the simple pleasures. I go for the complicated pleasures. That's what I'm all about. There are plenty of times when I don't want people looking at me. I want to stress that. I mean, when I'm flossing. When I'm flossing my teeth, I don't like to do that in front of a crowd. That's a very private thing. I don't know if we talked about this before, but the only time I ever lie is regarding flossing. I like to think of myself as a very honest, straightforward person. I don't know what it is. I lie pathologically at the dentist when he says, "How often do you floss?" I say, before and after every meal, like 8 times a day. I'm flossing right now. And he can tell I'm lying because, I'm not flossing.
I once actually strained my wrist flossing.
It's dangerous. You can hurt yourself.
How is your health, by the way?
My health? Well, I'm still alive, which I can't say that for millions of other people. So, I'd say that I can't complain, but, I obviously can, because as well as I do, right. It is possible for me to complain.
I think that's one of the most charming things about you, your ability to complain.
Well, thank you.
So let me ask you this. Is there a history of depression in your family?
Well, no, not really. And I think the reason for that is because my family had a way of dealing with depression. Watermelon. My dad told me when I was a small child, he explained that watermelon was the happy fruit. And I'll never forget what he told me. He said, "Alfred, if life has got you down, if you feel like you've been beaten into the dirt and you're at the end of your proverbial rope and you're sitting all alone in the dark in a flea-infested hotel room at 3 o'clock in the morning with a gun in your mouth, just thinking about the sweet release of death, you put that gun down and march right into the kitchen and get yourself a great big old slice of watermelon. Because it's the happy fruit. There's no way you can't be happy when you're eating watermelon. You'll just snap right out of it."
I could see how that might work.
Go for seedless. That's my pro tip. Seedless watermelon.
But have you ever had suicidal thoughts?
Well, I'm having one right now.
Let me ask you a more pressing question. Have you ever had a suicidal plan? Because a lot of people think about killing themselves, but having a plan is a very different thing.
You have to think about, potential ways that you would kill yourself if you ever need to.
Right.
And, I thought about maybe stabbing myself repeatedly with a dull fork. Like a spork, like one of those things that they have at Taco Bell.
Right.
And I thought it would take a lot of time and a lot of effort. That gives you time to think about it. Because, if you're killing yourself with a spork, you have a lot of time thinking, do I really want to do this? Do I want to go through with this? Is this something that would be best for me, in the overall scheme of things? And usually if you're trying to kill yourself with a spork, you go, well, at the end of the day, maybe I shouldn't kill myself.
Yeah, and then there's the feelings of the spork itself.
I never consider the feelings of the spork. I don't know if that makes me callous toward inanimate objects.
Well, you know what the music means. We're going to have to pick this up next week. This episode featured guest patient Weird Al Yankovic and the voices of Laura Silverman and Erica Rhodes. The show was produced by Bruce Smith, Tom Snyder, and Jim Colgan, edited by Rob Lynch, and mixed and mastered by Nick Stargue. I'm Jonathan Katz, and this is Audible.
You can listen to new episodes of Dr. Katz, the audio files, for free at audible.com/Dr. Katz. Our guest patients include Sarah Silverman, Ted Danson, Ray Romano, Weird Al, and more. If you're already an Audible member, just select an episode below, complete checkout, and listen for free in the Audible app. If you're not an Audible member, just sign up for a free trial when you select episodes.